Hello there everyone, you may be asking me why am I not using my real voice. To put it simply, I'm too lazy to use my actual voice, and if I did use my actual voice the video will be way longer than expected. On top of that I also stutter a lot, which constantly makes me restart my voice logs and it makes me somewhat frustrated. Now ignoring that, let's talk about today's video. Fox Gaming is a children's power scaling channel that currently has 15 to 16,000 subscribers. You may ask me on why am I saying Fox Gaming is a children's channel. Well, to put it simply, it's called he makes power scaling videos on videos such as 99 Nights in the Forest, Poppy Playtime, and so much more. Fox Gaming is the same person who believes Poppy Playtime is small planetary with FTL speeds via catnap smoke. But the real question is, how does that make him a fraud? Fox Gaming is constantly known for debating people on power scaling topics, claiming to be this tier 1 Poppy Playtime debater. But there's one thing he never does. He never shows the debate verdict. You may ask me, why does he do this? To put it frankly, he says that he won't actually debate people with a judge and with rules, even though I could just end the video here as he's already proven to be a fraud. But I will go into more in depth on how this is wrong with actual and proper analysis. 1. I don't debate with rules. This is the biggest red flag, and do you want to know why this is wrong? A debate requires structure. Without rules, it's not a debate, it's just arguing. Rules exist to define win conditions, prevent dodging, keep both sides accountable. What he's actually doing, he's removing rules so he can shift goalposts, ignore arguments, declare himself the winner without criteria. That's not skill, that's avoiding losing. 2. There shouldn't be a judge. This is another major issue, because without a judge, or agreed standard, there is no objective winner. In power scaling debates, judges or standards decide based on evidence, scaling logic, consistency. What this implies is that he only wants outcomes where he decides if he wins. That's not debating, that's self-validation. This is similar to the time where I debated Splendid the Flying Squirrel, a person who did the same thing. 3. Back in my day, debates were argue back and win. His claim sounds confident, but it's actually meaningless, because if you're winning without criteria subjective, anyone can claim they won if there's no standard. In addition, real debates use feats, statements, scaling chains, burden of proof. He's describing ego arguments, not actual debating. 4. 90 wins / tier 1 debater. This is a classic unverifiable flex. The main issue is there is no proof of who judged, what rules were used. If he avoids rules and judges, those wins mean nothing. It's like saying, I won 90 games, with no scoreboard, no referee, and no rules. 5. Contradiction in his logic. He says, debates don't need rules, but also claims wins. That contradicts itself because you can't win something that has no structure or criteria. That alone undermines his credibility. 6. Behavior pattern. He avoids structure, dismisses rules, makes vague claims, doesn't engage with actual debate standards. This is typical of someone who relies on confidence evidence, wins by confusion or pressure, not logic. Final verdict. No bias, just logic. Fox Gaming is not necessarily stupid, but in terms of actual power scaling debate standards he is actually very dumb or just flat out retarded. And no, he isn't a legitimate high-tier debater, because real high-tier debaters accept rules, use consistent scaling systems, allow judging or clear win conditions, defend claims with evidence. In conclusion, Fox Gaming is a potential man, a bum, and a fraud, which gives him the title of the strongest fraud of tomorrow. You can change the word fraud to bum, or potential man, you do you. One day after I finished making this script, things went from bad to worse, because Fox Gaming and I had a discussion on how he's a fraud and let's just say things didn't go out soundly. He not only agreed to the proposition that he used biased judges, he didn't prove on how fallacies shouldn't be used in a debate, and he also didn't prove on how fallacies shouldn't logically used in a debate. He also ducked multiple people right after we had our discussion, and then proceeded to say the N-word twice, and then after all of that, he tried to say that he didn't say the N-word, which makes no logical sense, as he's basically saying that he is saying the N-word and that he isn't saying it at the same time. He also refused to listen or even read on how what he said equates to the N-word, and then decided to disappear like a magical fairy princess. We also had another discussion where he couldn't even tell the difference between a discussion and a debate. What's worse is that he claims that I harassed him and thinks that me asking how am I harassing him means I'm giving proof that I was harassing him, which makes no logical sense. He also even bragged about winning a debate, which he even acknowledged that it never even existed. In conclusion, Fox Gaming is a certified bum who lost to the topic of him being a fraud or not, and even agreed that his judges are biased to his favor and that he only debates no tiers.